Okay, finally. Sorry this was taking time because I had to sort things out with a YouTube live stream thing on desktop on my Mac, which proved to be difficult than before, so I decided to move on to my iPad, hence why it's positioned differently. Hello, Henry Cross. Right now I'm going to share the YouTube live stream to everyone to see on social media before I get to introduce myself. Right now is 2021. That's 821. Hello, Roz. Crane Productions. Crane Ninja Productions. Here we go. Let's Twitter done. See if the live chat's up. Hello, Andrew Leago. Hello, Mason. Hello, Ian. Hello, Jack from Western States. Hello, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hello. How you all doing? And hello, Zoro and Midlands fan 95, whatever it is. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. How are we all doing today? Hello, Zoro Works. Woo! Hello! Right now, I'm still going to showing the link on social media. That's Twitter done. Okay. What's new with me? Well, not much actually, but I'll maybe plan to make anything exciting for next month since it's the 75th anniversary of the Free Railway engines. So, what are you going to see on my YouTube channel in May? Wait and see. I can't tell you what I'm going to make, especially with a top secret one. Okay, that's an early start. From Loveni, who do you like more, Edward or James? It's difficult to decide, so I like both engines. Particularly James, since he's pretty much like me for a rascal and a bit of a show off, whose pride comes the best of him. Anyway, hello James Man 143, how you doing? Hello everybody. What's the rarest thing I've owned? Well, it had to be a first two Railway Series books in the first editions. Do I like the monkeys? Of course, I do like monkeys. I do like monkeys. I even sound like one. So, yeah. Okay. What are your thoughts on the Duchess at the moment? Are you referring to the engines going to appear in the Royal engine? If so, she did have some interesting design, character design that is, especially with a crown on her front end. Yeah, which adds to an interesting thing. Yeah, one is my favorite Rugrats character. Well, it had to be Chucky. I'm not gonna lie, I like Chucky. Of all babies, yeah. Hello, Sound Tank. Sorry, no, that's okay. You're not late. You're just in time. I've only just started. Plus, the live streams just started right now, so I should introduce myself. Hello, everybody. SmurfyDan here, and welcome to the Spring 2020 Q&A live stream on YouTube. And again, Please accept my apologies for taking so long to start the live stream because things were now appearing to be complicated from my end of a desktop on YouTube since because yeah, things are getting complicated. Hence I positioned that in a different position because I'm using the iPad right now. So I hope you'll understand on this. And now, since it's all started to coming up much better in the results with my iPad, so here we go. If you have any questions, hence why there's a hashtag, ask SmurfyDan. So it can be up to one or two questions, then ask away. And of course, if there's any updates on Steam's Legacy as of yet, including like when's the chapter 9 is going to be a release? When's chapter 9 is going to be a release? Well, I can't answer it all right now as of yet because I still hadn't uh, been doing anything with Steam's Legacy much because there's not much going on at the moment. Sorry. Also, from Henry. Do hate Rebecca and Nia since they replaced Edward and Henry. No, I don't hate. I don't hate Nia or Rebecca because they're both interesting characters. But I digress. I liked Edward and Henry too. In fact, everyone played a huge part in Thomas the Friends, especially the latter four engines there. What's my favorite part from making Steven's Legacy? Says William Wildrib 99. It had to be a couple of things like Tugs, Jack and the Soto Construction Company, and of course the great discovery of a few things. And and the icing on the cake is the origins of the Railway series, mostly on Wilbur Audrey's early life, which I felt which would be something I've been mostly proud of having during the editing process as well. Do I like Engine Roll Call? Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, it's catchy and it's fun to listen to. Um, Unlike the series 19%. So yeah. Did I ever watch Clifford the Big Red Dog? As a matter of fact, I did. I did recall seeing Clifford the Big Red Dog somewhere on VHS. I do remember that he was that huge dog in the town with a little girl named Emily, I think. Yeah, that blonde-haired girl with a pink shirt and black skirt. It must be been Emily. Yeah. Oh yeah, got it correct. Hey. With that said, I did remember saying Clifford the Big Red Dog. Some interesting show that's made for preschools. Do I like the Beatles or the Monkees? Mostly the Beatles, hands down. Well, most notably Ringo Starr, solely. For obvious reasons. Who does Clifford remind you of? I don't know, to be honest. Other than the fact that he's just that big red dog in the town. Anyone else? Have you got any questions for me to ask? There's still plenty of time for the next um, couple of minutes. Yeah, this next 50 minutes. Yeah. From Henry. Favorite narrator and Thomas of Friends? My most favorite? Oh, yeah, a tie between Michael Angelis and George Collin. Least, Alec Baldwin and Pierce Brosnan. Well, they're both not the worst, to say the least. It's just that in the case of Alec Baldwin, though, in Series 6, he didn't do much in Enthusiasm, mostly with his character voices. His narrations were pretty okay in both series, It's just that some of his character voices were kind of lacking, mostly Donald Douglas. He lacked the Scottish voices. But of course, of all the things that he did in Series 5 in character voices, I kind of give some credit, mostly with Cranky and Stepney, whom he had given a Cockney accent. So that's pretty good. What is your favorite real locomotives class? Says Jacob Furness. It's too many to list, but I like I like seeing the well-known steam engines, most notably um, the Rocket and the Flying Scotsman, and of course City of Truro, as well as the most recent British steam locomotive Tornado. Oh, yeah, let's not forget that back in 2011, when I first went to the National Railway Museum, I managed to have a ride behind uh, Pixie, that green engine that used to be owned by the Reverend Teddy Boston back in 2011. Yeah. So the Tang asked, which Thomas Meetup out of the three is your favorite? History of Thomas, the Coventry exhibition, or the Bournemouth exhibition? It's hard to pick one, so I think all three of them. All three of them had their merits. Yep. Do you think Gordon is an AO or just got rebuilt at crew? It's complicated to tell beyond, to be honest. Favorite Railway Series book? Yeah, too many to list, but it had to be Stepney the Blue Whale engine and Enterprising engines, hands down. For earlier books, it had to be, let's see, Henry the Green engine, and of course, Thomas the Tank engine. Do I miss seeing my friends? Since the coronavirus is spreading, yes. Not only that, but I was planning to go to the rest of the places other than the Midland Railway Centre as part of my own Audrey and Thomas appreciation trips, like the Lorne House in Wiltshire and the Ravenglass and Eskdale Railway and the Bowbell Railway and of course the Tallaglyn Railway in Wales. But because of all the coronavirus going on, that had to be on hold at the moment until this madness clears up. And that's nice to hear. A comment from Nowhere Boy 98 saying, "Hi Smurfy Dan, my favorite video you made is yours Thomas Land 2009 series and Stevenson magazine. Are you referring to a trip to Thomas Land videos, which is split into 5 parts plus outtakes and deleted scenes? Well, still, I'm pleased to hear that you enjoyed these videos, even though that they're dated for me, as a matter of fact." From Ian, the train, books, kids shows, and songs kid. What's your least favorite special? Um, it's a tie between Misty Island Rescue and Day of the Diesels. Uh, whilst in from my own perspective, they're not terrible. It's just that the execution is awful, especially with the gimmicks and the repetitiveness and rhyming and such. The stories in both specials did have some potential. It's just that the end result was pretty messed up. In my opinion, Series 12 is the best series. Well, for me, Series 12 was alright for a hybrid series. Using the live action models and CGI animation. Pretty rich, weird to be honest. James Band 143 says, I honestly say Day of the Diesels is better than Misty Island Rescue, but just not perfect. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about it. That's what I was saying at this point, though. Yeah, although it's good of you on preferring Day of the Diesels over Misty Island Rescue. Yeah. What is your favorite special from series 12 to 16 minus Blue Mountain Mystery? A tie between um a tie between Blue Mountain Mystery and The Great Discovery, whilst Here of the Rails came close to a second. That's for me. If I were in charge of Mattel, what would I do with the Thomas brand? Um, I wouldn't want to be that big to control the brand because that would require a huge amount of responsibility for anyone to work on the brand. I mean, imagine if there was a workload of stuff like the editing process, the voice recordings, and music sessions, and animation, and such from one's perspective as a producer and such. But just imagine. In short, I wouldn't be too sure about if I'd ever work in Mattel. Depending on the activity. See. Lavani says, Hey SmurfyDan, how much will the cool props Thomas and Annie and Claire will cost in American or Japanese money? Since they're only available in Japan, it's mostly Japanese yen money. And in order to get yourself a copy of Cool Props, either one with Thomas on his own or with Thomas and Annie and Clarabelle, you had to contact with some bidding services that established in Japan to help you to send them to their place, and then they'll send it to you. You see, in short, for my recommendation is Juno's bid service, which I've been using after these many years for some out of stock Scancer Tomaso DVDs, mostly the Fuji television DVDs. Yeah. Do you do you Thomas could go strictly comes dancing for the 75th anniversary this year? I doubt it. But at least we got Prince Harry for the Royal Engine. That is coming on tomorrow on Netflix for you American fans out there. And of course on Milkshake for the UK fans this coming Saturday. So yay! Do I like new Trackmaster toys and track, or at least old? You mean to say, do I like old or new Trackmaster stuff? I hadn't collect any Trackmaster stuff, let alone for a long while, so I wouldn't mind the new ones, as well as them seeing the old ones, just as long as they're good enough and appealing to the child's eye, and that can provide some fun, even if it wasn't for the gimmicks sets. Then it would be fine with me, though. This should be interesting. Here. Hello, Sammy and Eve and Sylvester and Tweety fan. What's my thoughts on Pablo the Little Red Fox and Sammy and Eve? I hadn't seen Pablo the Little Red Fox, but I do remember seeing another show called Pablo, and it's about a child with autism in a fictional animated world of imaginative animal characters, with the involvement of Andrew Brenner and our good friend Whitehouse Films, who played a monkey. Nicholas Straw. Do I like WWE? I'm not. I'm not that big into WWE, let alone anything to do with wrestling. Sorry. If Thomas the Tank Engine were to air on BBC Two instead, would you like to see a special Thomas themed BBC Two ident go along with it? And how do you think the ident would have looked? Imagine it be in the style of the poster that advertising the first UK VHS tape, where Thomas stopped at the Elsbridge station with Annie and Clarabelle, and then the back controller waving to the viewers, whilst the number two on top of Thomas in the sky clouds above him at the station. I have felt that it would be a much imaginable thing to see. So, what do you think, viewers? Anyone else around? You got any more questions? Well, 40 minutes left to go. Uh, Sorry, that was my brother. What are your thoughts on Henry not being in his old shape in The Avenger Begins? And thoughts on Big World Big Avengers? To be honest, I um I didn't mind I didn't mind too much on a couple of flaws things like Henry's not being in his old shape in The Avenger Begins, because keep that in mind that he was one of the difficult characters to develop as far as the Rev is concerned. Excuse me, got a bit of a hiccup. And my thoughts on Big World Big Adventures. From initial impressions, it was some interesting concept and idea. It's just it's just the end results with the flashback sequences and such, and to meddle the storyline. Yeah, but still, I had fun with a couple of episodes. Sure, there may be a few that may not be anyone's cup of tea, but I do enjoy a couple of them as well. Mostly with Diggs and Discovery's episodes, and Steam Team to Rescue, and let's see, Thomas in the Wild. While it did not have so many action stuff in it, I felt it was something that's refreshing for a wildlife documentary type of episode where Thomas goes off to see pandas in China. Okay, this should be an interesting question from Nicholas Straw. If Thomas ended, what would you do? Would you change your channel to Smurfs or still continue to doing a bit with Thomas? I wouldn't be so sure about it yet. Plus, I don't think the show's ended just yet after series 24, other than but rather to have some rest. Yeah, taking a rest. Like, imagine that Thomas had been going around the big world adventure for so long that he needs a rest safely at his home in Titmouth Sheds until he is ready to make full steam once more with Series 25. That's just a thought I had in mind. Do you remember the heavy marketing push from Hit during Calling All Engines and The Great Discovery? Well, yes, I did remember. For the most part, with Calling All Engines, it was for the 60th anniversary. It was released in 60th anniversary as part of a lineup. So yeah, those were good times. Do I have any thoughts on Penny Morris from Series 3 of Fireman Sam? For the first female firefighter of the Pontypandy Fire Station, she did have some interesting character traits. For some female firefighter, Yeah, that's all I'm saying about it. What do I think about Spencer's body since his boiler and smoke box are like switched into a rectangular block? Um, I didn't mind too much about Spencer's looks because he, he's pretty much a fictionalized version of a real life Sir Nigel Gressley's streamlined engines there. Yeah, there is a difference between fictionalized and real life stuff, especially with the differences between the books and the TV shows as well as real life. Yeah. Which sets from Thomas and Friends would I'd like to see recreate if the change? I I don't get it, but still, sorry. If the change, I don't get it. Okay, do I prefer Take and Play or Ethel? Ernal? I'm sorry, but I would have to choose Take and Play due to the coupling system, but the 2015 coupling ruined it. I was more familiar with Ernal's toys during my days back in the 90s, but the early Take Along toys were pretty nice too, as well as some of the Take and Play's toys up to 2015. But to be honest, I didn't seem to be fussed over the 2015 coupling systems in plenty of Take and Play toys. Have you ever heard of Pac-Man? Yes, I have heard of Pac-Man. It's a video game thing, isn't it? Tomy or Trackmaster? Tomy. Although they're both unique toy lines, because it's pretty much the same thing, with a few enhancements, mostly with the latter. Has Paw Patrol overrun Thomas the Friends nowadays? I can't tell really. I just can't tell for sure. Do Nigel Presley talking to Thomas impression? Sorry, not right now. My voice is it's not pretty good right now because I had a sore throat last night during my sleep, so I doubt if I'd ever do the Elvis Presley impression. Sorry. What is my favorite set from the Thomas and Friends series? Mostly the ones that are well established, like Farquhar Station, Ellsbury Station, the classic Viaduct, and of course the iconic classic windmill in during the opening themes. Juggington or Thomas and Friends? You know the obvious answer, guys. Oh, now here's an interesting one. How did you get Enterprising Engines 93 to host the Internet Legacy? You mean to narrate it? Well, it was long way back in 2015 as I was still developing it in a few scripts that split into chapters. Since I was too shy to narrate it by myself because it's been a huge project. Hence, I had an Enterprising Engine 93 in my mind because he had made decent wooden railway videos, series of wooden railway videos back in the day. And once I asked him in nearing the end of 2015, he gladly accepted it, and hence how we both started working together on it. So yeah, what was your first Thomas and Friends toy? It's hard to tell, but it had to be either Wooden Railway or Ertl. Most likely both. Have you met the GBS Crub? The GBS Crub? Who is that? Might ask. I don't know. Are you referring to the people that brought us Journey Beyond Sora, How It Should Have Been video, by chance? Yeah, I know Crane Engine Productions, but by saying crops, uh, I'm not sure what crops mean. Unless he'd say, who's your favorite GBS characters, or what is your favorite scene and such. Sorry, guys, I was just looking into another one of the Brittle Crops Facebook posts concerning the whale engine, and she has now acknowledged the fact that Michael White wrote the whale story, that he was one of the million children that watched the show she did during the 90s, and she had given him her blessing for it, and he thanked her for it from what I've read. So all's well that ends well, mostly for Britt and Michael, I think. Getting back to the questions. How was my birthday? Pretty decent. I got some nice stuff. Molly or Rebecca? For me, both. I like both of them. Mostly Rebecca. She's a fun character. Was Molly, well, she did have her own character instincts as being shy and such. Did you know that Prince Harry read the Thomas book? Are you referring to Thomas and the Whale Engine? I mean, but I digress. Yes, I do recall seeing the ITV News bulletin of Thomas and the Whale Engine yesterday afternoon, and I recorded it on my BTU box. And it was something that's worth looking forward to see on the Saturday for me, especially now seeing that Michael White written the story. So a fan that had written a whale story, that's pretty fitting to the anniversary year. Yep. It, so White Ass Films, if you're watching this, you deserve some 2 thumbs up from me. I'm looking forward to seeing it on Saturday. It's ought to be fun. Yay! Beep beep. It's been nice seeing you since last August, Michael. Getting back to the questions. Will the Royal Engine come to Canadian Netflix? Maybe so, because it's going to be on Netflix in the US as well, along with Marvelous Machinery that's split into 2 parts of a new arrival and the world of tomorrow. Oh, Church of Production says 7. I'm T-Mad. I missed most of the live stream. No, that's okay. I had to deal with some technical problems on my end from the beginning. Why is Thomas turned unrealistic? I don't know, because that like I said earlier, there is a difference between fictional stuff and real life stuff. By saying real life stuff, I mean outside of a fiction world. with books and TV shows, media. And of course, I was talking about Thomas and Friends too. Did anyone watch that Neil Patrick Harris Thomas Fanatic video? I, for one, did watch that, and it's pretty priceless to see him getting mad over the kids are saying simplistic stuff over his bratty personality, as if it's to say, "I'm a Thomas fan and I'm bigger than you. Ha 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 ha! I'm a bigger fan," or something like that. I mean, that's funny coming from a guy that starred in a live-action Smurfs movies. If you can ever visit the Teleclameaway, which Scarlet Rene's class of engine would you like to see? Mostly Dulgok and Talaclin, hands down. Why do you think Henry and James don't pull the Express anymore in CGI? Um, James is a mixed traffic engine, so he can pull both coaches and trucks. For one exception, that's about James. So that's counting that he does pull the Express sometimes, as was Henry. Although Henry mostly working on Fickerstown, and working at Fickerstown pulling goods. And that's a flying kipper is his own job. That's Henry. Who is the next CGI company to? You mean, which is the next CGI company? You meant the animation studio to work with Thomas, says the practical joker boy RD. I don't know for sure because there's nothing confirmed about a new animation studio to work on Thomas at the moment, let alone just yet. Nicholas Strauss says, I'm watching the Royal Engine on Milkshake on Saturday morning. Did you know that Sharon Miller is voicing one of the characters? Woo. If the IMD if the IMDb's proven correct on the casting thing, like anything else, surprisingly, then it'd be a huge surprise. Why Scott Laurie and Glenn chose the same voice actor? Because it's Keith Wickham. What else do you expect? I did try to do a little bit of Glenn and Scott Laurie voice impressions from Keith Wickham, even though he did his voices much better than I did with my voice impressions. Sorry, I tried. I sucked. Dude, do you know SpongeBob SquarePants? I did used to watch it. I did used to watch it. I mean, mostly with seasons 1 to 3, and occasionally seasons 4 to 6, and a few of season 7, and that was it. It's just that I've moved on from the show now to focusing on other things. Thoughts on other hit entertainment shows? For the most part, I enjoyed seeing Bob the Builder, and of course, I even thought the Rubber Dubbers was pretty good. Same thing can be said for Angelina Ballerina, even though I only seen a handful of episodes on either shows. Potato, yes and no. In fact, I do eat mashed potatoes, roast potatoes. That's two things of the potatoes I do eat. So yeah. Whoops, phone. Sorry about that, guys. How did Hit messed up the USA release date of Series 7? I'm not sure. But imagine if they're trying to look for a new narrator to fill in Alec Baldwin's position after purchasing Ghislaine back in 2002 before working on Series 8. Hence how they ended up choosing Michael Brandon of Jerry Springer fame to narrate Series 8 up to Series 16. So yeah. Is in the Great Race, isn't a Flying Scotsman CGI models? Things didn't exist in real life, right? And why him and Gordon spoilers so big? Well, to be honest, Flying Scotsman, the fictionalized version of the engine, is in fact based on a real life steam engine of the same name, Flying Scotsman. And I don't know, to be honest, but all I do know, the fact is that they are both brothers, and that they're the same size, as far as anyone's concerned. Do I like superheroes like Batman, Superman, and the others? I do recall watching most of Batman the animated series on Cartoon Network, and later seeing most of the Batman movies, like Tim Burton's Batman movies, as well as the Joel Schumacher movies, which were alright, and Christopher Nolan's Batman films, which I felt were some improvement. So, even with through the trial and error, pretty much I thought all Batman films were fun to watch, despite everything. Now here's an interesting question from Crane Engine Productions. Are there any steam railways in any other countries would you like to visit one day in the future? For the most part, I'm not sure yet, to be honest. I mean, it's still a long way to go. Although I very much like to visit one of the narrow gauge railways in Ireland one day. And hello, Big Licky Studios. I'm doing all right, thank you. You have a question for me? Oh boy, are you looking forward to seeing the Royal Engine this weekend? I already stated this earlier. As a matter of fact, yes, I will be looking forward to seeing it for many reasons, in spite of Britt O'Croft's initial concerns. Yes, and yeah, I do acknowledge that Britt O'Croft did have any rights to share her concerns on the mentioning of Prince Harry, recording the message and such. But even so, I'm still up to see it on Saturday. So yeah. Okay. Thoughts on Duncan's CGI render? Looks pretty good as is. That reminds me. Has anyone here? Can anyone hear me? Anyone in the live chat? From what I'm seeing, in the live chat, someone said, "Is my volume working?" Can anyone hear me? Oh, one said yes, from Nicholas Straw. Anyone else? Anyone hear me? Okay, loud and clear, says Scott. Okay, okay, now I get more people that can hear me. Oh, okay. One says I can, but it sounds low to me. Maybe you might need to turn up your computer volume so that you can hear me clearly. Anyway, Jamie Boy 1995 says, personally, I'm not against it, despite Britt's opinion too. I mean, just because Britt doesn't like it doesn't mean anyone else has to. Well, as far as we're all concerned, I don't think we had all seen the Royal Engine yet, other than a snippet of clips from news articles and promos and such. But I don't think Avril had seen the entire thing yet. That is until tomorrow on Netflix US and Milkshake the day after on Saturday. Favorite Thomas project I own? Too many to pick. So mostly three categories: VHS, DVDs, and books. Okay, what's my favorite Thomas VHS and DVD? Way too many to pick because they're all unique DVDs and VHS as are, but for with the exceptions of a few, it had to be well, PP Party and let's see what else. All aboard this with the Steam Team for the start of Series 8. Sorry, had to come up with which one you got number one. Songs from Sodor on the DVD. And a couple of current Japanese DVDs from 2008 manufactured by Sony Creative Products, including ones from the series. Anyway, could you choose which newer series character you'd like to return into CGI? Mine's either Billy or Dennis because their characters could be expanded upon. I was thinking, I was mostly thinking about Billy because his character did have some potential, but since he only appeared in one episode, I doubt that he'd ever appeared in the series anytime soon. What is my thoughts on the Mr. Man and Little Miss as a whole brand? It did have some interesting history. That's what's starting out with a question to a father, Roger Hargreaves. What is a tickle like? In response, Roger Hargreaves draw a person with long arms, particularly long arms, and thus Mr. Tickle was born. Am I planning on future projects after Steven's Legacy? We'll just have to wait and see, Scott. Plus, I may have a plenty of forthcoming videos for next month along the way because we'll be celebrating 75 years of the publication of the 3 railway engines. Do I remember Risadora? I do remember seeing a bit of a Risadora. One time on CITV and the other time on VHS. Especially with that catchy theme tune, it says something like Risadora, Risadora, do 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 do. Okay, getting back to questions. Favorite Mr. Man and all his characters? Too many to pick, but doesn't have to be a top 5, but in no particular order. It had to be Mr. Happy, Lemon Sunshine, Mr. Small, Mr. Perfect, and Mr. Funny, and of course Mr. Tickle, Lemon Shy, and let's see, Lemon Greedy, Lemon Splendid. Let's see. All the same, they're all unique characters and their personalities. But oh yeah, I also love Mr. Grumpy. I mean, he's a real grump. Hence, I have some slippers that have Mr. Grumpy on it. What are your thoughts on Hank? My thoughts aren't very well. I don't like the fact that there is an American engine. You mean there, HRE is an American engine on the British island, but that's my opinion. For the most part, while I do partially agree that American engines don't work on the British railways, if necessarily. It's just you have to keep in mind that Thomas the Friends is a fictionalized series, whether it be in any form, books and TV, as opposed to real life. Yeah. Jamie asked, are you into Fireman Sam, the old series? I did used to watch the classic Fireman Sam series. That was where they used models and John Addleton as the narrator. I mostly liked his character voices, particularly Dilys Price, especially with some ways that she shouts out, "Mummy's little darling," and "Norbert Price, you just wait till your mummy gets you," or something like that. Do you prefer Collins, old, or Finding the Sun? I don't get it. If you're referring to Fireman Sam, I mostly like the past four series with John Middleton in it. Thoughts on Fireman Sam Series 5? It was okay, whilst they still using stop motion. That's okay. And plus the fact that Ian McHugh somehow involved in that one. And I'm like, what? I didn't know he was involved until much later. So that was interesting, I guess. He worked on Ian McHugh worked on Fireman Sam Series 5 that one time. Oh yeah. Hello Kirsty, who happens to be Scott's wife and mother to Connor and Cutter. You know, Scott's children. Hello guys. Hello Scott's family. Hello everybody. Hello Kirsty. Hello. How are we all doing today? Do you know Teen Titans? I've heard so much about Teen Titans, although I hadn't watched anything to do with Teen Titans or Teen Titans Go, and I'd care less about either one, so I'm free. Come at me, haters. Come at me. Yep, I digress. Final Sim Series 5 was a good series out great. Like Thomas Series 17 and 1. It was alright. That's pretty good for it. Okay. Bye, Blixsky Studios and family. Well, see you next time. FAB. Good night. Do I think Thomas and the Magic Railroad canon or not? Oh boy. Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Thomas is its own movie that has Thomas the Tank Engine and Shining Time Station, but I doubt it has any canon to the TV series or the Railway series universe stuff. But let me just make this clear for a bit. Now, as a fan, especially after seeing it 2 times in cinemas, I enjoyed Thomas and the Magic Railroad on its own as a movie, although at the same time, as an adult, outside of the fan base, the Magic Railroad, it's pretty much a flawed film with a couple of messes and stuff like that for some guilty pleasure, mostly with Alec Baldwin's over the top acting and yeah. But nonetheless, in short, whilst I personally don't think that Magic Railroad is a terrible movie, it's just that it's not necessarily perfect in my mind, especially with the director's cut. I mean, even if there'd be a director's cut released at any time soon, which I doubt it will, it's just that Magic Railroad, whilst it was a fun movie to watch, it's still not the best film that I'd ever seen. I mean, the last time I've seen it was a couple of years ago on the German and Japanese DVDs, and it's pretty flawed. But nonetheless, I had some fun watching it for guilty pleasures. Alright, 5 more minutes and then we'll cut things up for a live stream. Here we go. What is your favorite and least used series character? Mine favorite, you mean my NY favorite would be Dennis, and my least favorite would be Rosie. Because I like Dennis and how he is lazy, and Rosie killed Stebney, and I love Stebney. Well, you mean in the episode Rosie's Funfair special? I mean, she did not necessarily kill Stebney in any way, but she did not notice that one of her carnival trucks rolled towards Stebney, and the pink sugar flown out into him, making a mess, covering him in pink sugar. Needless to say, he's not killed. It's just that he's covered in a pink flowery sugary mess. Yeah. When Steven's Legacy is finished, will I upload it in full or even try to get it on TV? On the TV part, I doubt it, but for a full version, it could be a possibility one day. But then again, we'll have to wait and see on this one, especially because I hadn't even provided any updates on the Steven's Legacy yet, especially at the moment. I mean, when do I have anything to give some updates later in the year, hopefully? That's when I will let you know in the next update video. And don't worry, Steven's Legacy is not going in anywhere, and it's not ended. It's just that over a month ago, I did an April Fool's joke. I had the majority of you fall for it with a picture of Sweep's family from Sootsie, with a made up name for a coronavirus thing. If you're familiar with Sootsie and Co., the Sweep did some few screw ups with the sign for the Welcome to Sootsie shop. And one of these, which was infamous in WTL Network YouTube poops. I mean, instead of Welcome to City Shop, it now says Cost Tutti Poo Smish. Especially the way with Matthew explaining it after reading it, the way it was funny. It's just something like Cost Tutti Poo Smish. Cost Tutti Poo Smish. That's not very funny, Sweep. Or something that's the way Matthew would say in explanation. Yeah. Thanks. 2 more minutes and we'll be wrapping things up. If they want to return characters, it needs to be with story arc and personalities, not just to use them for gags. Okay, that's a fair point. And will Lionsgate come back to distributing Thomas DVDs? Since it'd be a way things are with Universal distributing DVDs at the moment, I doubt it'd be reverting back to Lionsgate anytime. But then again, it's entirely Mattel's decision. I mean, it's entirely up to the people, heads the people at Mattel. So yeah. Since we're closing to an hour, that will be it for another edition of Ask SmurfyDan YouTube live stream. That's also Spring 2020. And thank you everybody for tuning in and for having plenty of questions for me to answer, especially if I couldn't be able to answer all of them at once. But yeah. So that said, until next time for the summer 2020 edition of Ask SmurfyDan on YouTube, this is SmurfyDan signing off, and have a lovely evening, everybody. Plus, here's something to end things. End the live stream. Here's me, and here's Mini Me, holding a flag. So yeah. Union Jack flag. I will stay safe, and of course, I hope you guys are staying safe during the current situations, and that you will be looking after yourselves until the situation clears up. And I hope you find anything nice and fun to do to use the excuse out of boredom and such. I mean, I get ahead of myself. In short, I hope everyone's staying safe at home or wherever you are, and thank you for wishing me to take care as well. Until next time, see you in the next Ask SmurfyDan live stream. And that's see you next month for the celebration of the 75th anniversary of the Free Railway Engines. This is SmurfyDan signing off. For real. Good night, everybody. Bye. Night night.